big day. The day I had been waiting for, preparing for, dreaming about, it was finally here. The anticipation was electric, and I could feel the excitement bubbling up inside me. Big day, speech day. The culmination of weeks of hard work, late nights, and endless rehearsals. I could feel the butterflies in my stomach, but I knew I was ready. I had on my best suit, the one with the shiny buttons. It made me feel confident, like I could conquer the world. Every detail mattered today. I practiced my speech in front of the mirror over and over again. Each word, each pause, each gesture was meticulously planned. I wanted to make sure I left nothing to chance. I wanted to make everyone laugh and clap. I imagined the audience's reactions, their smiles, their applause. It was my motivation, my driving force. I had index cards with all my jokes, each one carefully crafted to bring a smile to their faces. I knew humor was my strength, and I planned to use it to my advantage. I even had a funny hat for extra laughs. It was a little gimmick, but I knew it would work. It was all about making a memorable impression. This speech was important, very important. It wasn't just about the words, it was about the message, the impact. I wanted to inspire, to move people, to make a difference. It had to be perfect. Every moment, every word, every gesture had to be just right. I took a deep breath, focused my mind, and prepared to give the speech of a lifetime. My cat, Whiskers, watched me with those big, curious eyes of his. He always seemed to know when something important was happening. Today was no different. I had an important meeting, and Whiskers, my ever-present companion, was right there, observing my every move. He sat on the couch, his favorite spot in the entire house. The way he lounged there, you'd think he owned the place. His eyes followed me as I moved around, getting ready for the day, tail flicking back and forth, a sure sign that he was plotting something. Whiskers had a way of making his presence known, even when he was just sitting quietly. That flicking tail was a warning, a signal that he was up to something. Whiskers is a good cat, most of the time. He's affectionate, loves to cuddle, and has a purr that can soothe any bad day. But there are moments when his mischievous side comes out and you have to be on your guard. But he can be a little mischievous. Like the time he knocked over a vase just to get my attention, or when he hid my keys, making me late for an appointment. Today I had a feeling he was planning something similar. I knew that look in his eye. The one that said, "Oh, you think this is your day?" It was a look that promised trouble. A look that said he was ready to turn my carefully planned day upside down. I patted my suit pockets. Extra treats? Check. I had learned from experience that having a few treats on hand could sometimes divert his attention. It was a small price to pay for a bit of peace. Maybe I could bribe him. I held out a treat, hoping to distract him long enough to get out the door without any incidents. Whiskers eyed the treat, then looked back at me as if weighing his options. Would he take the bribe, or was he planning something bigger? I started my speech. Ahem, ladies and gentlemen. Right on cue, Whiskers jumped on my leg. He dug his claws in. "Ow," I said. The audience chuckled. I kept going. Today, I want to talk about... Whiskers started purring, very loudly. It sounded like a motorboat. People started laughing. This was not part of the plan. Section 4. A speech derailed. Whiskers tugged on my pants. It was supposed to be a simple speech, a straightforward presentation, but Whiskers had other plans. As I stood there trying to maintain my composure, he decided my pants were the perfect plaything. His tiny claws latched onto the fabric, pulling and tugging with all his might. I could feel the eyes of the audience on me, but all I could think about was the mischievous feline at my feet. He batted at my index cards. Every time I tried to pick one up, he'd swat it away, sending my carefully organized notes flying in all directions. It was like a game to him, but for me, it was a nightmare. The more I tried to gather my thoughts, the more he seemed determined to scatter them. He even tried to bite my tie. As if the pants and the index cards weren't enough, Whiskers decided my tie was his next target. He leaped up, teeth bared, and latched onto the fabric, pulling it down and nearly choking me in the process. I could hear the audience's laughter growing louder, but I was too busy wrestling with a determined cat to care. I was sweating. My face was red. The heat of the moment, combined with the physical exertion of trying to fend off Whiskers, had me drenched in sweat. I could feel my face burning, not just from the physical effort, but from the sheer embarrassment of the situation. The audience was in hysterics. What was supposed to be a serious presentation had turned into a comedy show, and I was the unwitting star. Every move I made, every attempt to regain control, only seemed to make them laugh harder. I tried to regain control. I took a deep breath, hoping to steady my nerves and salvage what was left of my dignity. But Whiskers had no intention of letting me off the hook that easily. He continued his antics, oblivious to the chaos he was causing. Whiskers! No, bad kitty. My attempts to scold him were met with more mischief. He looked up at me with those innocent eyes as if to say, "Who, me?" It was impossible to stay mad at him even as he wreaked havoc on my presentation. I fumbled over my words. This was a disaster, a hilarious furry disaster. In the end, I had to laugh along with the audience. Whiskers had turned my speech into an unforgettable performance, one that would be talked about for years to come. And as I looked down at him, still playing at my feet, I couldn't help but smile. After all, who could stay mad at such a cute little troublemaker? Section 5, Unconditional Love. Finally I gave up. I scooped up Whiskers. He snuggled into my arms, purring. The audience was clapping and cheering. I guess they liked the show. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Never ever try to give a speech with a mischievous cat. But hey, at least we were a hit.